Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm your host, Lawrence, over at Mighty Comics Collectibles, and today, of course, is the Hot 10 Comics of the Week breakdown, where I take the 10 hottest comics from the Key Collector app, and I break them down weekly for you guys, letting you know which books I'm buying and which ones I'm staying away from. Now, with that said, if you're not a current sub of the channel already, you guys are missing out. Hit that sub button, smash the like button for this guy right here, and with that said, let's get into this week's breakdown. Starting it off this week at number 10 is Fantastic Four number 48 and the first appearance of the Silver Surfer. This is also the cameo of Galactus. There were 5 sales that broke the average this week, with a high sale and a CGC 8.0 selling for $3,500 and up 12% over the average. Next up, we had a CGC 4.5 sale for $1,025, up 4% over the average. And lastly, a CGC 1.5, you heard that right, a lowly 1.5, selling for $530, up 3% over the average. This is the 6th week in 2025 that FF number 48 has ranked on the Hot 10 Comics Week breakdown. Now, with that said, guys, if you're a long-term holder for this book, I'm a buyer of it. If you're not, or you're trying to flip this book, I'm going to say right now is not the greatest time to go ahead and buy this book, considering Silver Surfer is coming to the MCU sooner rather than later. Norrin Rad, that's right, not Fantastic Four First Steps, but very soon he is coming. Speaking of Silver Surfer, at the 9th spot this week is Silver Surfer number 1. The first solo ongoing Silver Surfer series, this is also the origin of the Silver Surfer and the Watchers. Another 5 grades broke the average this week, with the highest being a CGC 5.5, selling for $650, but up 18% over the average. Then we had a CGC 5.0 sale for $536, up 4% over the average. And lastly, a CGC 4.0 selling for $450, up 15% over the average. Silver Surfer number 1 ranks for the 8th time so far in 2025. Again, I'm going to tell you guys what I tell you every week. If you want to own this book, mid-grade is where it's at. The best grade you can get for around $500, that's what I'm a buyer of. When it gets to be in higher grades, it gets really expensive, and I don't want to spend that kind of money on this book, but I am a buyer. Dropping 2 spots to number 8 this week is Fantastic Four Annual number 6. The first appearance of Annihilus, ruler of the Negative Zone. This is also the first appearance of Franklin Richards. 6 books outsold the average this week, with the highest being a CGC 8.5, selling for $700, but up 21% over the average. Next up, a CGC 7.5 sale for $475, up 31% over the average. And lastly, a CGC 5.0 selling for only $163, but up 20% over the average. This is a whopping 7th week that FF Annual number 6 has ranked on the Hot 10 list. I tell you guys this all the time, I'd be okay buying this book if I can get it for absolute steal. A 5.0 for $160, I'm all over it. I'm a buyer at that grade. With that said, the higher we go, the less likely I am to buy this book. So keep that in mind. If you want to own it for the long term and you think Franklin Richards is going to be a big thing in the MCU, go ahead, but buy lower grades. Coming in at the 7th spot this week is Thor 337, the first appearance of Beta Ray Bill. A crazy 8 sales dominated the average this week, with the highest being a CGC 9.8 newsstand copy selling for $525, up 26% over the average. Next up, a CGC 9.6 newsstand selling for only $166, up 3% over the average. And lastly, a CGC 9.4 direct selling for $130, up 16% over the average. Thor 337 makes the list for the first time in 2025. To me, I have not seen this book come up on any list for quite some time. Does that mean Beta Ray Bill is going to show up in the MCU finally? We've been waiting like 10 years for this character. I'm going to say no, not happening. Either way, for $100, I'm not going to tell you if you want to own the book. Me personally, I'd rather just get a nice raw copy just to have in the collection. Other than that, I'm okay. Making its debut in 2025 at number 6 this week is Uncanny X-Men number 101. This is where Jean Grey is reborn as the Phoenix. 6 sales broke the average this week, with the highest being a CGC 9.2, selling for $950, up 19% over the average. Next up, a CGC 8.5 sale for $590, up 11% over the average. And lastly, a CGC 8.0, selling for $525, up 14% over the average. Like I said before, this is the first week that Uncanny X-Men number 101 has made the Hot 10 Comics of the Week breakdown. Now, with that said, I think this is a must-own X-Men book, and it's up to you to decide how much you're willing to spend on it. For me, I want to own this book in an 8 or higher, and I'm willing to pay the price. So, again, if you don't want to own this book and pay this kind of money, I'd say put your money elsewhere. I think $1,000 goes a long way to other books you may want to own, so keep that in your head, but I would like to own this book. Coming in at number 5 this week is What Else? Amazing Spider-Man number 300, the first full appearance of Venom. A whopping 12 sales broke the average this week, with the highest being a CGC 9.8, selling for $2,725, only up 2% over the average. This is the 7th consecutive week and 15th overall that this classic cover has made the Hot 10 Comics of the Week breakdown. Absolutely ridiculous. Everyone wants to own this book. There's no secret. It is the most graded book by CGC there has ever been. Now, with that said, like I said before, I want to own the book, but I don't want to spend almost $3,000 just to own it in a 9.8 when I see it consistently on Instagram for around $2,300. So to me, that's the buy-in at a 9.8. I'd say outside of that, get yourself a raw copy just to have in your collection. Other than that, I'm staying away. Back on the list at number 4 after a brief hiatus is Amazing Spider-Man number 194, the first appearance of Black Cat Felicia Hardy. 10 sales broke the average this week, with the highest being a CGC 9.6 newsstand copy selling for $860, up 8% over the average. Next up, a CGC 9.4 Direct selling for $495, up 5% over the average. And lastly, a CGC 9.2 Direct selling for $400 and up 4% over the average. Black Cat makes the list for only the 4th time this year. Alright, you guys know I want to own this book, 100%. I'm a huge Black Cat fan, but you got to keep in mind there are a ton of copies out there of this one, so get the grade you want to keep in your collection for the long term. Other than that, I can't see forking up the high dollar amounts for this book in super high grade. I just want to own it, but for me, it's always going to be a buy. Here's a book we haven't seen on this list in quite some time. At number 3 is What If number 105, the first appearance of Mayday Parker, the child of Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson in an alternate universe. 5 copies in a 9.8 outsold the average this week, with the highest selling for $410, but up a whopping 27% over the average. We all know why this book is on this list. Supposedly, Sadie Sink is going to be playing Mayday Parker in the upcoming Spider-Man Brand New Day. I gotta tell you guys, I'm not buying it. With that said, I'm not coughing up $400 on a 9.8 on this one just because of the rumor. So to me, if you own this book in a 9.8, I say now's a good time to sell. Coming in at number 2 this week is possibly the hottest book overall in 2025. It is Amazing Spider-Man number 129, the first appearance of the Punisher, Frank Castle. This is also the first appearance of the Jackal, and an absolutely classic cover by John Romita Sr. and Gil Kane. 9 copies outsold the average this week, with the highest being a CGC 9.2, selling for $3,191 and up 10% over the average. Then we had a CGC 8.5 sale for $2,300, up 13% over the average. And lastly, a CGC 6.0 selling for a cool $1,080, up 4% over the average. The Punisher ranks for the 15th time in 2025. Man, that is absolutely nuts. I'm not shocked though, with John Bernthal reprising his role as Frank Castle, the Punisher, in the MCU. With that said, you guys know this is one of my favorite books of all time, so I'm always going to own it. So yes, if you want to keep this book for the long term, I'd definitely be a buyer, but make sure it's for the long term. A lot of copies out there, so if you want to flip this book in 5 years, I'm not buying it now. And finally, at the top spot this week, a massive key. The biggest Bronze Age key out there. It is Incredible Hulk number 181, the first full appearance of Wolverine. 7 copies outsold the average this week, with the highest being a CGC 9.4, selling for $10,400, but only up 1% over the average. Next up, a CGC 9.0 sale for $7,900, up 16% over the average. And lastly, a CGC 8.5 selling for $5,650, up 11% over the average. Wolverine's first appearance makes the list for the 7th time in 2025. So, told you guys this a couple of weeks ago. I finally jumped on the bandwagon with this book. If you want to own it for the long term, I'm going to bless it right here. Go get yourself a copy. But again, I'm going to say, just like ASM 129, in fact, all Bronze Age books, if you're not going to hold them for the long term, I'm not buying any of them right here, right now. I don't know what the market's going to do. Maybe a year from now, you could possibly get a better deal. But I say long term, it doesn't matter. Get yourself a copy. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, another Hot 10 Comics of the Week breakdown comes and goes with a lot of the same books every week. With that said, it is now time for my best buy of the week, and this is a tough one. A lot of Bronze Age goodness on this list. One Silver Age key I definitely want to own. With that said, I'm going bronze here, ASM number 129. I'm just a huge Spidey fan. It's a hot book right now, and I'm a huge Gil Kane and John Romita Sr. fan, so that's my best buy. Hope you guys enjoyed the list. This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics Collectibles, and thank you for watching. Happy collecting, and I'll talk to you guys soon.